Have you ever noticed someone who quietly disappears when their birthday comes around? No party, no posts, no celebration, sometimes not even a mention. While birthdays are often seen as joyful milestones, for some people, they feel like something to avoid rather than embrace. And this isn't random, it's deeply psychological. At first glance, skipping birthdays might seem strange or even ungrateful. But in reality, it can reveal a lot about how someone sees themselves, their past experiences, and even their relationship with others. One of the most common reasons people avoid birthdays is discomfort with attention. Not everyone enjoys being the center of focus. For some, the idea of everyone looking at them, celebrating them, and expecting them to react in a certain way can feel overwhelming. It creates pressure to perform happiness, to be grateful, excited, and socially engaged, even when they may not feel that way inside. So instead of dealing with that discomfort, they choose to step away entirely. Another deeper reason is linked to self-worth. People who struggle with low self-esteem often feel undeserving of celebration. When others try to honor them, it can create an internal conflict. On one hand, they appreciate the gesture. On the other, a voice inside them questions, "Do I really deserve this?" That mismatch between how others see them and how they see themselves can make birthdays emotionally uncomfortable rather than enjoyable. For some, birthdays are not just about the present, they are reminders of the past. If someone had negative childhood experiences, such as forgotten birthdays, broken promises, or family conflict during celebrations, the brain starts associating birthdays with disappointment or pain. Even years later, those emotions can linger, so instead of risking that same feeling again, they avoid the day altogether. There's also a strong connection between skipping birthdays and the fear of aging. Birthdays are, by definition, a marker of time passing. For many people, this is exciting. But for others, it brings anxiety. It can trigger thoughts like, "I haven't achieved enough," or "time is running out." Instead of celebrating another year, they feel like they're being confronted with expectations they haven't met. Avoiding birthdays becomes a way to avoid those uncomfortable reflections. Interestingly, some people skip birthdays because they value emotional independence. They don't want their happiness to depend on others remembering, celebrating, or validating them. These individuals often prefer to treat the day like any other, maintaining control over their emotions rather than placing expectations on others. In a way, it's a form of self-protection. If you expect nothing, you can't be disappointed. There's also the social media factor. In today's world, birthdays have become public events. Posts, stories, messages, it's almost like a performance. For some people, this adds another layer of pressure. They may feel obligated to respond to every message, repost stories, or show appreciation publicly. If they're not comfortable with that level of visibility, they might choose to disappear instead. It's not that they don't care, it's that the social expectations feel exhausting. Another important aspect is emotional exhaustion. People who are already dealing with stress, anxiety, or personal struggles may not have the energy to celebrate. A birthday, which is supposed to be joyful, can feel like an additional task. Planning, responding, socializing, it all requires emotional effort. And when someone is already drained, skipping the day can feel like the easiest and most peaceful option. Some individuals also experience what psychologists call anticipatory disappointment. This means they expect the day won't live up to their hopes. Maybe in the past, people forgot their birthday, or plans didn't go as expected. Over time, the brain learns to lower expectations or eliminate them completely. By skipping birthdays, they remove the possibility of being let down. There's also a personality component. Introverts, for example, often prefer smaller, quieter experiences. A big celebration might feel overwhelming rather than enjoyable. Even something as simple as receiving multiple calls or messages can feel like too much. So instead of navigating that, they choose solitude or a very low-key approach. But here's something important. Skipping birthdays doesn't always mean someone is unhappy. In some cases, it's actually a conscious choice. Some people redefine what the day means to them. Instead of parties or social gatherings, they might spend the day reflecting, relaxing, or doing something personally meaningful. It becomes less about external celebration and more about internal connection. At the same time, for others, it can be a subtle sign of emotional struggles. If someone consistently withdraws, avoids connection, and isolates themselves during moments that typically involve others, it might indicate deeper issues like loneliness, depression, or unresolved past experiences. The key difference lies in whether the choice brings peace or avoidance. What's fascinating is how society shapes our expectations around birthdays. From a young age, we're taught that birthdays must be celebrated in a certain way: cakes, gifts, parties. When someone doesn't follow that pattern, it stands out. But psychology reminds us that there is no universal right way to experience a birthday. It's deeply personal. If you know someone who skips their birthday, the best approach is understanding, not judgment. Instead of forcing celebration, simply acknowledging them in a way that respects their comfort can mean a lot. Sometimes a quiet message or a small gesture is far more meaningful than a big event. And if you are someone who avoids birthdays, it's worth asking yourself why. Is it because you genuinely prefer it that way, or is there something deeper beneath the surface? Understanding your own reasons can help you decide whether it's a healthy choice or something worth exploring further. At the end of the day, birthdays are just markers of time, but the meaning we attach to them is entirely psychological. For some, they represent joy, growth, and connection. For others, they bring reflection, pressure, or even discomfort. And maybe the real takeaway is this: how someone treats their birthday isn't about the day itself. It's about how they see themselves, their past, and their place in the world. So the next time you see someone quietly skip their birthday, remember, there's always a deeper story behind the silence. Before you leave, here's something interesting. If this video made you think even a little differently, that's your brain craving more insight. So go ahead, hit that like button and subscribe, because this channel is all about understanding the hidden psychology behind human behavior. Drop a comment below and tell me what you think, or suggest a topic. Your curiosity might shape the next video, and share this with someone who loves understanding people, or maybe someone who needs to understand themselves a little better. Now click on the next video on your screen. Your mind will thank you for it.